morning, Taste Buds. I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein. Join me as we cruise on down the mighty Mississippi to the city of New Orleans and taste some of the best that city has to offer. It's the food of New Orleans today on SoFlo Taste, y'all. How fun is that? Taste Buddies, I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein and welcome to the Goya Kitchen at Junior Achievement of South Florida here in Coconut Creek. Let me paraphrase the words to a Crescent City song. Do you know what it means to eat in New Orleans? New Orleans is one of the great food cities in the world, let alone the United States. Today I thought it would be fun to give you some of my favorite recipes from one of my favorite food cities. So let's get cooking. How can I make any food from New Orleans without starting with barbecue shrimp? I mean, come on everybody. It's the best. It's one of my favorite recipes. I'm just gonna heat up the pan and jump right in. Okay, to make barbecue shrimp, you gotta have head-on shrimp, and these are stunning head-on shrimp. So let's go ahead and heat up butter and oil so we can start cooking our garlic. So this is garlic that's really sliced thin, and that's where we're starting. Let's add that to the pan. Not really looking for much color, just a little bit of bubbly and fragrance coming from that. I've got some French bread right here, sliced on a bias. I'm just gonna throw that in the oven because I think it would eat together really well. All right, let's shake that pan up a little bit. Let's go ahead and start adding our shrimp, and this is a very quick cook. Shrimp cook really quickly, so you want to have everything ready before you jump in. I'm not going to overcrowd my pan, so I'll just put in enough that fits perfectly. Yeah, I don't want to keep going. All right, stop there. Let's season that with Creole seasoning. You can buy Creole seasoning. This actually comes from New Orleans. Kind of smells like Old Bay, but even stronger. All right, let's add in the beer, just a little bit. Let that come down. I'm going to lower the heat just a little bit because we don't want to reduce too hard. A little bit of Worcestershire. Some of your favorite hot sauce. This happens to be Louisiana hot sauce. Some fresh squeezed lemons right in there. I would put a whole lemon in this for sure. We need a lot of black pepper. And finally, a couple more things. Some chopped rosemary. Just like so, really nice and rustic. And then we're going to finish with some celery leaves. And a little more butter to bring it all together. You can't be afraid of butter if you're going to eat food from New Orleans. How do you know when head-on shrimp are ready? If you come closer, I can show you the difference. So, you see how that head is still gray and this head is pink? This is cooked and that is not. Just like you always know when shrimp are cooked when they turn that pretty pink color. So then, you see how these are all cooked? This one is not, so we'll stick that in the broth. And that's how it works. All right, I haven't added any salt yet, so let me do so now. And that's celery. And we are ready to plate. Let's pour that right down in here. Woo, it smells good. To me, it smells like New Orleans in here. Let's get our bread. Garnish with bread. What a great beginning. Come right back to Soulful Taste for more recipes from New Orleans, or Nolans as they say it down there. Hurry back.
Come back to SoFlo Taste from the Goya Kitchen at Junior Achievement of South Florida. Chef Michelle is just getting started here on Local 10.
Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. I'm Chef Michelle Bernstein. Are you ready for more recipes from the Big Easy? Have you ever had a muffaletta? Well, it's time to have a muffaletta, and ooh, we're gonna make a doozy. So the most important part of the muffaletta is really all of these delicious things mixed together. So in a food processor, I'm gonna put some jardinera, which are those delicious pickled vegetables that you buy in a jar, some cured black olives, some of my favorite Castelvetrano olives, roast pepper, and you don't want this to become a puree. You want this to just get nice and chopped up. So just pulse it. All right, so once that's all chopped up, you're gonna add parsley, black pepper, oregano, red wine vinegar, and some olive oil. But you don't want to mix that in the food processor. You just want to kind of add that all together, stir it with a spoon, and then you have this beautiful mixture. And you really want this to rest for a little while to gather all the flavor and macerate. So I would say overnight would be perfect. So a muffaletta is a big, beautiful sandwich that you would find in New Orleans. There are a couple places, one in particular, that supposedly is the creator, the founder of the muffaletta. It's always in a seeded roll. Now the roll is usually a smaller, round, seeded Italian roll, but that's almost impossible to find in South Florida. So I just got any good seeded Italian roll I could find. Let's go ahead and cut that in half. And it's always filled with different types of cold cuts, always Italian cold cuts. So, you know, everybody makes theirs a little bit differently. A really cool part about the muffaletta is that once it's made, it's wrapped up in plastic wrap, and it's allowed to, the word is macerate, which is the word I would use, to really kind of come together, and all those flavors will build, especially because of all these good pickles and vinegar and all that goodness in here. So that's what they do, and then you'll buy and eat that sandwich, whether it's at the drugstores or out, you know, just, I actually buy it and I go and I sit in a park bench and eat mine. It's a mess, and it's big and awkward and delicious. My husband and I love eating muffalettas. So let's just build one for ourselves. Take a good amount of this, what I would call a dressing, and we're gonna add it to both sides of the cut bread. And try to be even, because we are making a sandwich here. And this, to me, is the best part. If this part is delicious, doesn't really matter what you throw in the middle. I mean, obviously, you always want to get good meats, right? Good cold cuts, but this, to me, is all the flavor. So for today's cold cuts, I got some fun stuff. I went a little bit off the beaten path and bought some things that maybe you wouldn't always find in a muffaletta. Okay, there we go. So I have some fresh mozzarella, one of my favorite things. I've got provolone cheese, spicy capicola, regular capicola, mortadella, and Genoa salami. So let's go ahead and start layering. I'm going to start with the salami. I really love salami. So you just want to make sure you cover every inch with your cold cut. Obviously, have everything sliced and ready for layering, because if not, that will take you forever. Let's go ahead and layer on the mozz. Now, normally you wouldn't find fresh mozzarella on one of these sandwiches. Usually you would find the kind that is a little bit harder, not as juicy, probably because these sandwiches sit for a while. In fact, you can even order them online. But I love the fresh mozzarella, especially since I'm making this fresh. I just think it's more tender and delicious. Now I'm gonna layer on the mortadella, my son's favorite cold cut ever. Now remember, mortadella does have pistachios, so if you have anybody that is allergic to nuts, I would not use this cold cut. Okay, let me get rid of this stuff. Capicola, why don't we, you know what, I'm gonna do cheese first. Let's do the provolone next. There we go. Okay. So I think rather than doing a whole layer of each capicola, I'm going to layer the not spicy and spicy, not spicy. I'm going to make a mosaic of capicola, like so. Maybe one more thing. All right. Shall we? There we go. Flip it over. I think we should wrap this bad boy in plastic wrap and come right back. Yay, I did it. To get a taste of what we made on today's show, at least two-dimensionally, go to SoFloTaste.com. It's the be-all, end-all of SoFlo Taste. Stay tuned to SoFlo Taste. We'll be right back. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste. Remember me giving you New Orleans recipes back in March of 2017? Well, those recipes, along with all of my recipes, are available on the SoFlo Show's webpage. Just scan this quick response code and you're off to the SoFlo Show's page. And make sure you pay attention because all those recipes are tested and amazing. Now, we are making probably everybody's favorite dish of all dishes in New Orleans. Can you guess what they are? You are probably right. They are beignets. Okay, so I'm actually cooking them now to make sure I have them cooked off for when we begin. So these aren't just any kind of beignet. This is actually a chicory beignet. And for those of you that have been to New Orleans, know all about chicory and beignets. So chicory is basically coffee. And you get chicory at Café du Monde, and you have your beautiful beignets there, but now we are combining the two together. So what you do is you take some milk and you take some chicory and you shake it up and you let it just kind of macerate a little bit, and then you strain it out, and what you get is like a coffee milk. So we're gonna take that coffee milk and pour it into a measuring cup because we need a good cup and a half of milk to make this recipe. So we'll fill this up just until it gets to 1.5 cups, just like so. All right, let's get rid of these two things. Now, to make yeast active, you need to warm milk just a little bit. So I'm gonna add some of that coffee milk to a saute pan, just any pan really, just a small amount of it. And we're just gonna let it warm. And this is already pretty warm. So now that it is, I'm gonna remove it and bring it over to my mixer. So let's go ahead and put that in the bowl. And let's go ahead and activate our dry yeast. add some sugar, and let's get this going. So this takes about 10 minutes to really start to activate. So once it's mixed, what I would do is just kind of leave it alone for a good 10 minutes, and then you'll see it becoming a little bubbly, a little frothy. When that happens, go ahead and add the rest of the ingredients here. So we've got the rest of the milk, we've got flour, butter, sugar, and finally some vanilla. Now, it's really important when you're adding or making yeasted doughs to allow things to sit and rise. You really need time. So once this dough fully comes together, you're going to put that into a bowl like this. And I like to put a tiny little bit of olive oil, or sorry, any kind of oil really, onto the bowl on the inside of the bowl so that that dough doesn't stick to the inside of your bowl. And I love to put it either on top of an oven or near an oven, or because we're in South Florida, honestly, my kitchen's pretty warm as it is. So anywhere is perfectly fine. Near my windowsill works really well. So that will double in size, and this is what your dough will look like. You see the beautiful color? That is from the chicory. So then you're going to divide this up into 3 or even more parts. It's up to you how large of an area you have. Look how pretty that dough is. It's beautifully pliable. So make sure you always have a little bit of bench flour, and this is the flour that goes down on your table to roll out. So let's make a little bit of room. Let's take a rolling pin. So when you're using bench flour, don't just put a ton of flour down. Just go light, just like so. Be delicate with it. You're going to take one of these doughs, a little on the top, and you're just going to roll it out to about 1/3 of an inch thick, kind of like a rectangle, as much of a rectangle as you can. It's very forgiving, so it doesn't have to be perfect. To me, that's about 1/3 of an inch. So I'm going to bring this back onto my cutting board, and then you're going to cut this straight down and then into triangles like so. And then you put these on a pan just like this one, and then you're going to let this rise again. So again, put this somewhere a little bit warm. So this really takes time, right? Sorry, it is what it is. It's a yeasted risen donut, right? So it's worth the wait. Trust me, it's delicious. So I would let that go for another like 20 minutes, and then you're ready to fry. So I have my oil heated at about 340 degrees. You plop them right in. Be very careful for splashing. And they'll puff up a little bit, which means that they're pretty much ready. And then from there, you put them on to something that will drain a little bit of the oil, like a rack is perfectly fine. And then what you'll do is, you'll take your beignets, you'll put them into a paper bag that's filled with powdered sugar, and then you shake. Come right back so we can shake a little more together and serve up these beautiful beignets. I'll be here after the break, and I hope you will be too. We'll see what's cooking on SoFlo Taste right after this. Welcome back to SoFlo Taste and our episode all about New Orleans cooking. Look how beautiful the beignets are. We dusted them in powdered sugar. You can serve them in a bag, you can serve them in a bowl, and now I'm slicing the muffaletta that I had wrapped up in plastic wrap. Let's see how these look. And I put skewers in them so that I can easier slice. Not bad, right? Thank you so much for joining me today. Today's recipes give you an idea of what Nolan's food is all about. Big flavors, easy recipes, huh? Maybe that's the real reason they call it the Big Easy. Well, I hope you like these. Next time, is Thai food too exotic for you to make at home? I'll be giving you Thai recipes that are perfect for you, the home cook, on the next SoFlo Taste.
Hey there, Michelle. Actually, hold tight. Tomorrow on SoFlo Health, we're gonna be doing the sled. We'll do the perfect push-up. We'll show you some healthy, modern Asian cuisine. I know you have that Louisiana cooking, that New Orleans cooking. It's known as the Big Easy. This isn't so easy, but it's all right here tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. on the one and only Local 10 for SoFlo Health.
So taste buds, I've had a good time this morning. I hope you have too. Take care, and I'll see y'all next week. Goodbye, mwah, and good taste. Les bons temps roulent.